Okay, welcome to Section 6, Lecture 18. We're going to talk about the primary interviewer. Very important team member. Because the primary interviewer is the research team leader, okay? Each team, and I need you to get this, each team needs a primary interviewer. So who this ends up being a lot of times is that when a team is very first formed, it's usually the person who volunteers, right? When the facilitator lays out the ground rules for the interviews. And that's cool because normally it's a person who is comfortable taking a leadership role, and that's great. That's what we need and that's what we want, because the primary interviewer is the leader of the team when we're doing the interviews. Okay? So how the primary interviewer leads is this. Going to schedule the user interviews. It's the first thing. And that breaks down into two parts. We're going to be interviewing a stakeholder, and then we're going to be interviewing the users who the stakeholder identifies. Okay? So from the stakeholder, we're going to be getting the primary objective and the definition of acceptable and intended outcome. We need this. We have to know what we're shooting for, right? This is what everything is going to be done against, is this primary objective. And then from the users, so these are the people who we're designing the application for. So when we're interviewing the stakeholder, we get these objectives, we find out who these people are, and the stakeholder is going to say, yes, you can interview this group of people. These are all analysts, or these are all sales reps, whatever. Whatever it happens to be, the stakeholder is going to tell us who we're going to be doing this for. So the purpose of the interview is to get the user to open up, always, right? We need to make sure that this user feels comfortable enough to tell us all the challenges, all the pains, and to not hold things back. So this is empathy at work, and it's crucial for the successful completion of your application project. Okay? So the primary interviewer sets the tone for the research session, always. First, what we do is we introduce the team, and we're going to give an overview of why the session is being conducted. Okay? And then also by stating the expected outcome as it relates to the application design project. So this is how we set the tone for the interview. We want to make sure that the person sitting in that seat right there is comfortable with us and knows that they can trust us. They have to be able to trust us. That's a really key part of this. They have to be able to trust us. The primary interviewer will be the only person directly communicating with the user until the interview blueprint is complete. And I say here, eye contact is crucial, and it really is. So the primary interviewer is not ever taking notes, right? The primary interviewer's sole purpose is to make sure that that person sitting in that other seat is comfortable. We're building rapport, and this is where the eye contact comes in. If you're the primary interviewer and you're constantly stopping to take notes, you've blown it. That's what everybody else is doing. That's what the partners are doing, and we'll get into that in just a little bit as well. So as soon as the primary interviewer finishes that first part, completes the blueprint, the first part, they're then going to give the note takers, the partners, one at a time, an opportunity to clarify any answers that they didn't fully understand. So let's look at a couple pictures of this. This is during the primary interview. The lady on the right is the primary interviewer. The lady on the left is the user in this case. And you can see that there are some people taking notes. So right now, this is the part where the only person talking to the user is the primary interviewer. And notice too that they're sitting right across from one another. There's nothing in between them. This helps establish rapport a little bit faster. You really don't ever want to be across the table or in any other position except for being right next to that person, and you're going to turn and face them and have them turn and face you as well. Now's the part where the primary interviewer has completed, and she's now going around to each of the partners, the note takers, and saying, do you have any clarifying questions? And one at a time, they'll say, yes, I do. They will then address the user. I didn't really understand what you meant when you said this. Can you clarify that just a little bit? Let's make sure that we have no gray areas anywhere. Everybody understands what's going on here. So let's look at the traits of a natural interviewer, right? A friendly, curious person, somebody who's very warm-hearted, who is empathetic, and a guider. And by a guider, what I mean is occasionally we'll get a user who doesn't quite know how to answer the question you've just asked them. Now, I'm not saying that we're trying to give them a solution here, but we're trying to guide them to opening up a little bit more. We're trying to make sure, once again, that they understand that they can trust us and that they can give us their feelings. We want to know their feelings. We want to make sure we understand their pains and challenges. So a natural interviewer will be able to do this as well. They'll be able to guide that interview session a little bit better. All right, so next we're going to move on to Section 6, Lecture 19. Now we're going to talk about the partners. All right, we'll see you over there in just a minute.